We ready? Was it a bit echo?
We're going to do the test and the echo.
Allison, are we still?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's better.
Are we still in the shot?
You are. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah. Okay.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for a Facebook Live press conference to announce a tremendous breakthrough for the people of Sacramento. The question we are all facing during these difficult weeks is the following: how are we supposed to pull together when we are required to physically be apart? It's a seeming contradiction for how we together bear this moment in time, because usually in times of crisis, we hug, we shake hands, we gather, we speak directly to each other, we party, we picnic, we hang out together. And of course, that is not possible given the health situation that our nation and our world is facing. And yet Sacramentans from every walk of life are finding unique and important ways to come together. And today is maybe the most significant example I have seen yet of how our community is choosing, even in times of crisis, to work hard, to work together, to stand for and with each other, even if not physically and literally. I asked my colleagues on the City Council each to take a slice of the pie here in terms of the myriad of needs that exist in our community during this time. And to a person, every one of them have stepped up. I asked my colleague Jay Chenier if he would lead an effort to galvanize all of the nonprofit fundraising entities in Sacramento, bring them together under one banner so that we could raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, over the next weeks and months to help small businesses, to help nonprofits, to help working people, to help with food distribution, to help with education, to help with anything and everything that our community is going to need. And so Jay took that mantle, and today he is going to make a big time announcement. Of course, it isn't just government. We are fortunate to have incredible community partners, and there is none greater, in my opinion, than Chet Hewitt, who heads the Sierra Health Foundation. Chet has used his vast network and the capacity of the Sierra Health Foundation to not only help donate for Sacramento up, but to lead in so many other areas that are crucial to the community's resilience. And so the two of them are here, but they are not alone. We have Stephanie Bray from the United Way, who is with us virtually. Welcome. The United Way is taking a huge leadership role here. Gabby Trejo from Area Congregations Together, always an organization that leads with its heart and with its head. We have Fabrizio Sasso, who leads the Central Labor Council. Fabrizio and the Labor Council have led to establish a key hotline for working people who want to know how they can access unemployment benefits and other benefits during this crucial time. Amanda Blackwood, who continues to do heroic work leading the Chamber of Commerce, working with the Asian Pacific Chamber and all the business organizations to stand up a hotline and a ready-to-use portal for small businesses who need to access the various loan programs that are out there. And Linda Cutler from the Regional Foundation, the Regional Foundation is the hub of so much philanthropic and charitable activity in our community, and Linda continues to lead as well. Without further ado, let me turn it over to Councilmember Jay Chenier to make today's announcement. Jay?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to do a few thank yous as we start this, because this doesn't happen in under 5 days without a lot of folks doing a lot of work. Sierra Health first of all, has been a great partner. We'll hear from Chet in a minute, but I want to recognize Richard and Samantha and Kaim, who have donated so much time and effort over this last week and certainly this last weekend. The Region Community Foundation, Linda and Neva, have been at the table. They have a website as well and have really demonstrated exactly what the mayor was talking about, how we come together and how we come together to leverage every dollar that we have. United Way with Stephanie Bray and Kula Koenig have also stepped up. We have other partners, including the Chamber, including GSEC, including Sacramento Act, including the labor folks, and including Threefold Communications. Everything you're seeing before you has been done literally in the last 36 hours to try to help put this together. And I also want to thank both the mayor's staff, Mary Lynn, and my staff, Allison, who have not slept in quite a while as we've tried to put this together as well. So I think for me what this demonstrates clearly is when there is a challenge, Sacramentans stand up. This is no different than many other things that we've done over the years, that we've come together and put the community in front of our individual needs. So this is an exciting time for that. I don't think at this point we even know the magnitude of the problem. We know, for example, on the small business piece, that we opened up a portal, and within about 48 hours, or slightly more than 48 hours, we had close to over 3,000 applications from small businesses, 1,200 applications that were completed, 1,800 in progress. So we know that people are hurting out there. We know that people are losing their jobs. And I think, again, working with our community partners, like United Way and ACT, we're going to help reach many of those individuals who so dearly need help. I think in each of the areas that we're looking at, and people will have a choice when they go to the website, which is Donate for Sacramento, of where to give. So if you want to support those who are unhoused, if you want to support individuals and their families, if you want to support and help us grow our small business loans, if you want to help nonprofits and organizations, or if you're willing to just say, I will donate the money, figure out where it can best be used. We will be transparent about how we do this. Sierra Health and the city will both have a website which will show where every dollar is going, where it came from and where it's going, and we will also be working with the community through advisory groups, so those who are most impacted have a say in what we're doing as well. I'm gonna stop there and turn it over to Chet Hewitt. We have some exciting news about where we are today prior to launch, and then we'll talk a little bit about where people can donate. Chet.
Thank you, Councilman. We're very happy to be joining the Mayor and Councilman Chenier's office in launching Donate for Sacramento today. Many of my colleagues who are on the screen behind me have a long history of caring about those who are less fortunate, those who are newly vulnerable, and those who experience a lot of the inequities that we have in our society. I think the COVID-19 epidemic has made it even more clear about how vulnerable some of those populations actually are. And today is about Sacramento coming together to actually respond to that crisis and those populations in a collaborative and unified way. Many of us could be doing much of this work on our own, and we've decided that we are actually much better together. And that's what Donate for Sacramento is really all about. It's a collaborative effort of the elected leadership, appointed leadership, philanthropy, private sector, and labor, all working together to demonstrate our care and concern for those who are vulnerable. Low-wage workers, families who've been laid off, restaurant workers, and other folks who we know need our assistance and need it now. Our work is to expedite our ability to respond to that in all the ways that we possibly can. We're encouraging people to practice your social distancing. That's an act of solidarity. And we believe what we're calling for today is more than a charity. Your giving is an act of solidarity and resilience, because that's what our community is going to need if we're going to get through this. A level of hope and connectedness that we know makes it easier and better during these very, very challenging times. Good news is that as we launch today with a goal of raising about $1.5 million, We have over $300,000 in commitments already. The foundation has made its first commitment of $150,000 to the fund. HealthNet has made a commitment of $150,000 to the fund. Comcast has agreed to make a commitment of $30,000 to the fund. And the Tykert Foundation, I want to call out Fred Tykert, who responded immediately to our request to join in, has agreed to make a contribution of $10,000 to the fund. So that's almost $340,000, and a website was just launched a few moments ago. So I'm going to encourage us all who have the ability, the privilege, and who are blessed enough to have all that we need during this very difficult time. To look deep into your heart and to go deep into your pocket and to demonstrate your care for others who are not so fortunate. As the mayor said, we in Sacramento, when things get different and we have a crisis, the thing that we are known for and that we do extraordinarily well is to pull together. So that's what today is about. Let me turn it back over to Jay.
Thank you. I just go real quick. Can I just say one thing real quick?
You're the mayor.
You did great work here, both of you, all of you. I just want to say that though the lead donations are big donations, we want to emphasize that every Sacramentan can donate.
Indeed.
Whatever you can donate, if it's $5, if it's $50, if it's $100, let's get tens of thousands of Sacramentans to donate to this fund here. And the numbers will add up, and everyone will feel, rightfully, that they are doing something to help others while we're all struggling through this time together. Jay?
Yeah. Just one last thing that we can make a small pitch for here. Not everyone can donate dollars, but there are lots of ways to do it. For example, Comcast is working hard to make sure that our families are connected in our neighborhoods. We're trying to do a lot of things on education to get curriculum out to young kids so they don't fall behind. So things like Comcast, we know the school district did 40,000 meals. Sac City Unified did 40,000 meals last week, but they're running out of volunteers to help give out those meals. We know the food banks have challenges because so many of their volunteers are seniors who might not be coming in right now. So we need volunteers there as well. So let us know at the city if you're willing to help. There's many, many ways to do it. Thanks very much. We can take a couple questions if there are any.
Thank you.
So you apply online, you said 3,048 hours had applied?
Correct.
And so what
This
is,
is a different.
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat the question. So this was a small business revolving loan fund that the city has put $1 million into.
okay, and how many have applied in how short a time?
Over 3,000 in just over 48 hours.
Okay, and what is the turnaround time, do you think, for businesses who apply? Is it like 3 weeks, a month?
I'm looking at Michael Jass over
Okay,
here.
let me,
Yeah,
we
go
want to
ahead.
try this one?
Sure.
So, the city's contribution is a catalyst, but really what we're doing is we're working with Amanda Blackwood in the Chamber of Commerce to try to gather all of the emerging state and federal resources that are either available or becoming available, and help small businesses fill out the applications and try to help them achieve a turnaround that is as quick as possible. Some of this is dependent upon the new federal programs and how flexible they are. We're also working with all of our commercial and community banks here because they are key players in this effort to get as much capital out to small businesses as possible. The state and federal programs in part help guarantee the private banks that they're going to get paid back. And so it's that combination of resources and partners that we're all gathering in one place. And Amanda, maybe you want to speak a little bit about that because I think it's a good opportunity to advertise what you're doing. Go ahead.
Actually, this is a question for us. Either one of you, Councilman Schiff.
Hold on, can you wait just a sec, let Amanda do this, and then we'll take the next question. Go ahead, Amanda.
So anyone can go to metrochamber.org or rapidresponse.metrochamber.org, which is a resource hub that we are accumulating all of the financing resources in one place. So know that that's updated on a daily basis. We are in talks with our local and major banking partners every day, and we will continue to update that page as we go so that you know what access to capital is available. And also working very closely with the Asian Chamber of Commerce and some work that they are doing in that space to move folks through that pipeline as quickly as possible.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, this is a question between you, Mayor or Chenier, either one. The timeline, you said 36 to 48 hours did you guys come together in the last 48 hours to, construct this, or was it done a few days earlier? Because looking at these signs, unless you made them overnight.
They were made this weekend. All of this was done this weekend. This came out, I think, a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with probably 30 electeds around the city. We were talking and brainstorming about different things that we could do. This idea was put forward at that point, and then I reached out actually at that day to Chet, and we've been talking and working, but really it's come together in the last 48 hours. And I want to thank all of our partners who you see on the screen and those who are in the press release. Everybody is saying, we still have a lot of work to do to figure out some of the nuts and bolts of how all this is going to happen, but we want to be transparent about it. And yes, Threefold Communications has done a marvelous job. These were finished yesterday and done over the weekend.
And also, I want to try to make this a Andrew Cuomo moment and stuff, but it seems like the city is doing its best to stay ahead of the game,
Yeah.
Look, I think we have one of the most activist mayors in the country. We have great staff in our city manager's office, and we have a lot of council people who just want to get ahead of the curve, as you said. So we are trying to lead, and we are trying to do what's best for our folks here in Sacramento. People are hurting every day. Mayor and I were on a call last week with 16 restaurants. I don't know how many of those will be around in the next 4 weeks or so. So we just need to do what we can, and I think that's why we're elected to lead, and great that we have a great philanthropic partner, lots of philanthropic partners here. So we're gonna work together, and we're gonna hopefully lead California.
I know there's a lot of interaction with the community, such as people like Hewitt and Ms. Bray and the other partners that you have. But are you guys getting any type of sleep? I mean, I know I'm not. I'm watching the TV every day trying to stay on top of things. But I just have to ask you as far as city business.
It's everybody feels anxious, and I think that's a very normal feeling. If you're having trouble sleeping, if you're feeling uneasy, that is a very normal and reasonable thing to feel now. So don't feel bad about feeling anxious, because we're all feeling anxious. And if we can just realize and just stop for a minute and recognize that you're not alone, that everybody feels a lot of the same, that's in itself a little bit comforting. Because if you're not feeling a little uneasy about all this, then that says something else. Most people are feeling exactly what you're feeling. And but it's important that try to get your rest. Working at home, we got a lot of people working at home. I'm gonna go home after this and work at home. I've got them all set up. Hopefully I won't mess up the Zoom and all the technology with the computer. But I'm gonna try to take care of myself here while working around the clock. And I encourage everybody else to do the same, because if we don't stay healthy, then we're not gonna be any good to each other. You're feeling not sleeping right now is a normal experience. Everybody, just realize you're okay. Yes.
I visited it just happened to be a place I was going for takeout for a restaurant. It was earlier last week before a lot of the developments came down, and noticed that their dining room was open. And I finally just said something to them, like, what are you doing open? It was a Japanese restaurant. It was clear that their first language wasn't English. They were not aware that their dining room was supposed to be closed. And later I even had the manager call me back and trying to get more information from me about this order. And I was trying to explain to him, one, that he was supposed to be closed, and two, that there was help out there. I understood that the city were doing some things and telling him to get in contact with the city. I hope he understood me. I really don't think he did. So my questions are, what kind of outreach is being made to people who maybe don't speak or read English very well, and what kind of languages is that being communicated, and what kind of efforts are being made to make sure that those businesses aren't left out of whatever sort of safety net there is?
We are translating all of our public messaging into multiple languages. I'm not sure whether the Japanese language is being translated specifically, but we are making an effort to translate into as many languages as possible. And look, there are some holes here, but I look at what's happening in other parts of the state and the country, in Florida, for example, with people partying on the beaches. I think we're doing pretty well here in Sacramento. We're doing pretty well. People are taking this very, very seriously, and so where there are communication gaps, we need to fill it. I appreciate you telling me. What we'll do is reach out directly to that restaurant owner to make sure that they understand, and we'll talk maybe, Amanda, to Pat Fong Kushida and the Sac Asian Chamber and see if we can get some broader communication and for more API communities.
And is there, do you at this point have any estimates of the economic impact we're looking at in the city?
No, just like the rest of the state and the country, we know it's profound, but we also know that there is going to be an incredible amount of assistance. Now, the Congress has not yet made a deal, but I'm confident that they will over the next day or two. And it's going to be our job to galvanize and organize all of these resources in a way that makes it user-friendly for the worker, for the small business owner, and for the people who need it. Can't be, government sort of has sometimes a reputation for being a little bit bulky in terms of the difficulty that it can take for people to access help. We're all working very hard to make sure that everything we do is friendly and easy for the small business and the worker. And nothing is going to be perfect here, but there is going to be a lot of help coming. And hopefully, the biggest thing right now, I will tell you, is to support our healthcare system and our hospitals as well, because if the surge really is coming, everything needs to be about healthcare. And anybody who has access, I got a call yesterday from a community leader who happened to have access to over 100 masks. Just had them stored, and we were able to access those masks and get them to our healthcare system. If anyone has masks, if anybody in the manufacturing world can shift quickly and start manufacturing ventilators as they're trying to do at the state level, our first concern right now is for our healthcare workers and our healthcare systems, because they may be about to be overwhelmed. Hopefully not, but we have to prepare for that.
And what about our homeless population?
Budget steps to make sure that we're prepared for worst cases.
Our city budget? Yeah, well, and at the city level, right, we are stopping all additional expenditures except as they relate to the COVID-19 crisis. We'll probably pass a city budget very early this year. It'll be a status quo budget. And then, we're going to hold off on any major investments, including Measure U investments, unfortunately, until we understand a little bit more how this situation stabilizes. I'm hoping that whatever hits occur to the city's portfolio is made up for with the assistance we get from state and federal government down the line, but we don't know yet.
What about the homeless population? I know you've talked a lot about being focused on that.
Yes.
And use this opportunity, even just walking around, and I don't know if it's just, if it's just my imagination, but it does seem like in some cases there are less people on the streets.
Yeah.
But where are they going? And
Well, we hope to have 300 or 400 additional beds stood up by the end of the week. That's the goal. We're working with our hoteliers, our moteliers. The county and the city are working very collaboratively with Sacramento Steps Forward and our housing authority. We're triaging people who are in existing shelters who are symptomatic. We've got to get them out of those shelters. People who are unsheltered, who are symptomatic or in the fragile category, either because of age or medical condition, we've got to get them into individual rooms. We think we can build 300 or 400. What I'd really love to do in Sacramento is be able to elevate the hundreds into thousands. That's going to require more than just a homeless intervention response. It's going to require a full emergency operations center. And Daniel Bowers standing here has got about 15 things on his, 15 categories on his plate, as does the state of California in terms of how to use the National Guard, how to use law enforcement, where could the Red Cross come in. I'm hoping that, that we can make homelessness a top priority here in terms of the resources we have to navigate people into thousands of rooms, not just hundreds, but there's what's that? Another reason to give here.
But in terms of our, but just to be clear, in terms of our stay-at-home order right now that
Yes.
basically tells people to be indoors, is there any increased capacity at this very second from the last time you were told to stay indoors in the
For the
last
home,
few
for
days?
the homeless
Yes.
population, over this week, there will be more capacity.
But as of right now, we're about
No.
this. Okay.
Mayor Steinberg.
Well, there is a little bit of additional capacity now, yes, but it's not yet in the three figures, but there is additional capacity. But we're gonna have hundreds of beds by the end of the week.
Mayor Steinberg, in regards to the emergency relief fund for the small
Yeah.
business that the portal closed last Friday, you know, pertaining to what Councilman Chenier had mentioned, you did say not everything is perfect. A lot of people in the community feel like that wasn't perfect. It's like you threw raw meat in front of 3,000 people and they're all scrambling to get a piece of the apple. How do you feel about that process?
Well, I think it was important for the city to demonstrate that it was doing something, and doing something right away. And yes, $1 million is not nearly enough, but what it has done is catalyzed the kind of partnership that's represented here today. And specifically for small business, we are working to access hundreds of millions of dollars worth of funding from the state and federal governments through the SBA program, through the state iBank, working with our commercial lenders. And so the $1 million was just, I think, a statement that the city was going to help lead here and help organize and help galvanize and be the conveners, and that's exactly what we have done. And the $1 million will help some businesses too.
I have a few remote questions from
Okay.
Bob Moffett and Teresa Cliff.
Yeah.
So Bob asks how and who decides how the money in the fund is distributed?
Yeah, so, as I said, there's different portals. SAC Act has one, and very specific of who they want to support and help. The Region Community Foundation has one also around nonprofits. We'll have this, we were putting together advisory committees. Things will be aligned with what the city has done thus far. But we will be, again, transparent and looking to those who are most impacted to help us make those decisions as we go forward through advisory committees. Yeah.
Let me just add something to what Jay has actually said. You know, we are a kind of community of grant makers who have great relationships with many of the nonprofits who are serving the unhoused, who are serving families who need food and nutritional support, who are serving children who need educational assistance as well. And so we plan to leverage those existing networks as we go forward. I think in our sense of this is that while we will be transparent and inclusive, we're also going to move quickly because people need assistance now. There are families who need food now. There are families who need rental assistance now. There are folks who haven't been working. So we're not going to let the search for the perfect be the death of the good. What we will do is to work with a level of integrity and honesty and leverage those community networks that we already have to ensure that the money is put to its highest and best use. I'll just underscore, this is Donate for Sacramento. It is a rapid response fund. And we expect our activities to be both thoughtful and quick so that we're able to respond to folks who are having all the anxiety that was expressed before and who are looking for some way to find some assistance, to find some level of hope that suggests that we as a community will in fact get through this together.
Bob Moffett also asks, much, if we have any idea, how much Sacramento stands to get if there's a $2 trillion stimulus package?
A lot. I don't know how that will work out. Formally, we don't even know whether any of it will go directly to the local governments, but $2 trillion, if that's what the stimulus package is, will go a long way in every part of the country, including Sacramento.
And then Teresa has one, which may be for Michael. How many of the 3,000 applicants for the no interest loans will be chosen and when will they be told?
So Michael,
Oh.
he asked you, how many will be chosen? We don't know yet. Remember, it's up to $25,000, and so we're not breaking it up necessarily by $25,000 increments. We hope that it will go as far as possible and help many businesses. But the real answer lies in the work we are doing with Amanda, the work we are doing here with Chet, the work we are doing with our labor partners to help small businesses and workers access the upcoming federal stimulus, to access the state iBank resources, to access the commercial loans that are backed by the government. That's where the real economic power is going to be. Anything else?
Yeah, I do have one last question.
Okay.
The public health question. Testing sites. Are there any testing sites available around the city for the public to reach out to, since that is one of the biggest parts of trying to control the virus?
I'm told that by the end of the week, we may have some testing sites up. But again, testing is not going to be for everyone. We're going to have to triage who gets tested, and it's got to be the first responders and the healthcare workers who get tested first, in my opinion. But hopefully by the end of the week, there's going to be some progress, not just locally, but in the state and the country. Because ultimately, the way we are going to resume some form of normalcy as we remember it is to have testing that is much more widespread. Because once people are tested, and if they test positive, they can be quarantined. And if people who test and are test negative, they could then potentially resume some form of regular work. Now, none of that is perfect because somebody who tests negative could still be exposed to the virus. But as the country, the state, the region, and the city balance all of this, testing is a crucial piece of allowing society to return to some level of normal. Thanks, everybody. Good job.
You are muted.